Hey, what's up, guys? It's back here. I just got top 32 at the NAWCQ, first national top, so hooray! But unfortunately, did not go to Worlds. So I'm still pretty happy with how I did. I decided to play Pearly. I played it for both the playoffs, as you guys saw on the live stream, and I also played for the main event. I'll show you the changes I made between the playoff and the main event. There was some decision that I, decided to change the non-engine a little bit around, but wasn't too big. Some shoutouts. Shout out to Hani for telling me to stick on the Pearly deck. Even though I went to Toronto Regionals and went 1-4 with it, the same exact list almost. So it's good that I kept with the deck, even though I went literally 1-4 at a regional. I think that was really nice. Shout out to Gunther and Jesse and Marcus and Ryan Yu for being my main testing partners for nationals and playoffs preparation. Shout out to Joe Lando, Yugioh History for filming deck profile, and then shout out to like Woff, who supported me, and just like everybody who's like really kind throughout the whole weekend, and whoever else I missed. But yeah, shout out to the Bozos as well. Let me see if I'm missing anyone else. And oh, shout out to the Australians too, because I also asked Jojo ASMR and Poe as well for some help with the Pearly deck, just to talk it through. I called him the night before, and they just offer a lot of like really good words that help me solidify the reason why to play this deck. So huge shout out to those guys as well. And all right, here's the deck profile now, so we avoid that stuff. So basic stuff: 3 yellow, 3 black, cat, and then 3 ash. I decided to play a very low monster count because my end board involves Princess Sprite, and I want to hit like the broken cards of my deck, which are the spells. And like Book of Moon, if you hit like Book of Moon, Prosperity, Cosmic, any of those type of cards is like really strong. So I almost didn't even want to play this card, to be quite honest, and play only these, and then cut Ash Blossom for a Book of Eclipse. But I think I still needed Ash because I was really afraid of Branded. I was also like really afraid of like just random decks in general, and if you draw Ash off your Sleepy, it's like just a really good interruption for no reason. So there's that. 1 Delicious. Every time I drew it, I won, except in top 32 where I got decked out. 3 Sleepy Memory, 3 Happy, and then just 3 Pretty. All these cards are really powerful. Their second effects are really strong. The deck becomes really broken post Dune because this card by itself is a draw 4 plus shuffle 2, so be on the lookout for that. That set should be out by the end of July, or July 29th. 3-5 My Friend Pearly. So usually like I think the reason why this deck is so good because when you have this established and your opponent's like hand trapping you, you have also a bunch of non-engine that stops them from playing, and this card just wins you the grind game. So it's just like really powerful. Also, there's a lot of really cool things about this deck that's really rewarding, because as you like get better with the deck, you get to do some really cool plays. Like I crashed. If you watch the game against Dragon Link in round 12 on the bubble, I did a play where I crashed my own Happiness to like I attacked 2 times with Happiness, add 2 cards, then I Happiness attached the Happy, crash my monster into his Magmoot that he left in attack, and add back 3 cards off this, and then summon back a White Cat off the field spell. So I played 2 field spell. I don't think you need more than, I think you could play, there's a reason to play 3 as well, but I found myself breaking on this card way too much. So I decided just to play 2, and I just added when I needed it pretty much. I think 2 was like enough. I just didn't want to break on this. The reason with the trap, like I wanted to like play just the right amount to not break on them, because I have room for like 18 on engine pretty much. So I think 1 and 2 was fine. I know Kamal played 3 of this and 2 of this, but this card was really bad going second, so I really only wanted to play 1, because you almost always get access to. So if you hard make Noir, you don't actually search this. I think a lot of people just tunnel vision with searching this card. If you can hard make Noir on your turn, you should be searching the field spell. So that's the reason why like 1 and 2 was fine. Basically 3 copies. When you My Friend, you reveal 3 is 3. So that's why I don't really think you need more than that. The only time you need 3 of these cards is if your opponent's playing like the hand trap cash deck, where you need to My Friend do 3 of these, and then use this to play around Mourner, Veiler, and Imperm. So that's the only time the 3 comes up. But other than that, I'm happy to play 2 and not break pretty much. The reason why I also wanted to play this deck for nationals and for playoffs is because I think it's one of the most consistent decks in the game. You can see that you have a lot of like starters, a lot of teleports, and all that good stuff. But I think Prosperity was really nice because I wanted to have that extra consistency to my deck. Like I think it was already really consistent, but if you notice, Delicious went to 1, so I want to supplement the extra 2, the second and third Delicious with the 2 Product Prosperity, and that's pretty much that. You'll see that this deck is main deck wise actually pretty identical to the list I got second at Oceanics, because I watched all the deck profiles. I know Oceanics isn't really like, people weren't really paying attention to it, but I watched all the deck profiles, and I think this was like probably my favorite list from all the profiles I've seen on Pearly. So I didn't really fix what was, if something wasn't broken, I didn't really want to fix it. But I played 3 Cosmic Cyclone. This card was amazing, non-engine wise. When you go first with this, in my top 32 match, literally, I went first with Cosmic, and I just instantly won the game against Runix. Like, it wasn't even close. Against Rika, if you go first, you answer their Con. Against Kashtira, you can you can banish their field spell or their birth, and that's really, really strong. Like, sometimes if you Cosmic their field spell, they have no cast monsters and they lose, so their birth and Theosis doesn't do anything. And Cosmic's really good in the mirror match, because in the mirror match, you need to address the field spell or you're gonna lose. Not having to use your Noir spin on the field spell in the mirror match, which I definitely did play a couple. Like, I played against Cabal, for example, is really, really good. So like being able to like save your Noir spins and use Cosmic instead was insane. So Cosmic's really good. It's also really good against Dragon Link because they don't end on Branded Beast, they end on just Regain. So you punish them for playing around Dark Ruler by using Cosmic and Regain. So when they try to bring back this Pater, just Cosmic it. So like I said, so many applications in the format. I see no reason not to main it. It's like actually so broken. And it's one of those cards that's, because it's quick play, it's good first or second. So that's the long explanation on Cosmic. But 3 Dark Ruler, it's a Zeus deck. So you Dark Ruler them, you Happiness, add 10 cards, you just like pretty much win. 3 Book of Moon. I literally basically call this card D-Barrier against like Kashtira. It's good against Runix because you lock them on Hugin. Just overall a really, really good card. Nothing to say. Also, this card came up a lot where like I had to like book my own. I had booked my own Black Cat to guarantee I get my friend access. So even though like he hand traps me, I have access to my friend in the grind game, and I just like pretty much win the grind game off my friend alone. So Book of Moon booking your own monster to that play is also really cool. Also, Book of Moon has some really cool application that people might not be aware of. So like for example, if you have a format Noir and it gets Dark Rulered, you can do something like activate Noir, detach 2. So it's Noir's Dark Ruler. You can go Noir effect, detach 2, spin back a card, Noir effect, detach 2 more, spin back another card, and then you chain Book of Moon on the Noir. It gets face flip back down, and it actually forgot that it was actually Dark Ruler, and it would actually resolve. It's a really weird ruling, but you can look it up. That's pretty much how that works. So like Book of Moon just like literally because of that is like I think it's like really, really cool interaction as well. Especially when you make a format Noir. But yeah, Book of Moon is like ridiculous, crazy ass card. 3 Impermanence because I didn't really want to play in the Tactics because I was really afraid of all the Kashtira players playing Tactics. I know like a lot of other Pearly lists didn't cut Impermanence, but I was just really afraid of like I said, Tactics. But also there's a spell and trap hit off of Princess Sprite. The last card I wanted it to be either 3rd Prosperity or the 1 Talents, and I think the 1 Talents was like fine. This card was like really not that good enough to play 3 of in my opinion, because all the good cast players shifted you in draw and semi-phase. Like if you watched my case tournament video, I actually played against Enzo. Shout out to Enzo, he's going to Worlds. I actually played against Enzo in the finals, and Enzo always shifted me in draw or semi-phase to play around Tactics. So this card just never resolves. It's like almost only good going second. And the other thing about talents you have to realize is when you go second to the cash board and they go a Rise Heart pass, you have to activate a spell to like trigger the Rise Heart. And then after you do that, you activate Talents Take. And if you think about it, they just chain a Rise Heart Banish itself, and it almost became like a bootleg Smashing Ground or like a bootleg Fissure. So it didn't really actually serve that good of a purpose going second to the cash board. So every time going second to the cash board when they go Rise or Pass, and you activate a spell to bait out the Rise, you have to activate Talents to draw 2, and then try to like hit an Imperm or a Book of Moon, and then like so you go like +1. But like I said, that's why like it's like a really weird card. But I don't know, I didn't hate it in the main deck. It won me a game where I literally played it, I think in round 11 on the bubble I played against Flu, and it won me the game where I literally got Harvey's Featherstorm, because I went Duster for all of his back row. He chained Featherstorm, chain Trap to summon Robina. I go chain Imperm for my hand because I control nothing, and then to negate Robina. And then afterwards I went pot for 6, grab Talents. Talents took his Robina, normal summon Yellow Cat, overlaid for Princess Sprite, attack that made down Zeus through Harvey's Featherstorm. So I think 1 was fine. Pot for 6, you might get it. It's alright. I don't mind. It's like the 40th card. I'm playing 40. All the other Pearly lists this weekend played, I think they played 41, which is also fine, I think. Deck's pretty consistent with all the teleports. So I played 1 Lingeribo, so this card actually won me 2 matches, so already by itself, I would be out the tournament if I didn't have this card in my extra deck. So a couple applications why this card is really insane, because a lot of people don't know if you're playing Donor or not. The previous list did, and I played against a Sprite player who literally made, he ended on Nightmare Griffin, Griffin, the Griffin Rider, Right Token, Melfi the Melfi Caddy, Melfi XYZ, Friend in the Fence, the Sprint, Smashers, and Starter. And this card won me the game because I didn't use a single card. I draw for turn, I drew Ash Blossom. I normal summon Ash, and I normal summon Ash and ask for res, and he Smashers it. So I used Ash Blossom to bait the Smashers. Then afterwards, I linked off the Ibly into a Linger Evo, Dark Rule his whole board, and just beat him. Just by basically by bluffing like a card in my extra deck that he didn't know. Like, I thought that was like insane. So I thought that was like really cool. So there's some really cool things you can do just because you have Linger Evo, even though people don't think you have it. But I think now that it's standard, people should expect to have Linger Evo, and then they can't Ibly lock you. Animo is obviously crazy because you can, when you have, the application with this card that's broken is if you have like Pretty Memory under like a Plum, for example, you can go you can go Anima, take like one of their cards that they summon in front of Anima, you send the equip, then you put Noir on top of the XYZ, then you send the Anima, so you get to take 2 cards for free. That's a really cool interaction I did that got me 2 extra materials for no reason. When your opponent misplayed into the thing. And then Azalea is just like, this card is just so busted. I was under summon limit, and I got to Azalea by summoning up my opponent's end phase, and I used my 2 summons to make Azalea, pop my opponent's summon limit. Well, I Dark Ruler first, pop my opponent's summon limit, enter battle phase, attacked into Shangura, and then popped it by banishing a spell from my graveyard. So the card was just crazy. The second effect is also really relevant. Double Happiness, this is like the reason why the deck's relevant. Search infinite materials. Double Beauty, I won a game because my opponent didn't realize this card's effect of impermanence is once per turn per copy. Card's crazy. One Plum, the only reason to play 2, which I wish I could have fit 2 in, but only 15 cards in the extra deck, is because a lot of people, if you watch all the deck profiles from Europe, and especially even NWCQ, like Charlie's Futch's profile, if you watch like any of the any player, they all main deck Nibru, and Plum comes up when you get nibbed on your board. You get to add back 3 spells from the graveyard. If you don't have a second Plum, you can't remake a second one unless you have the trap in the graveyard, which you typically wouldn't going first. And as a result, you can't make a second Plum into making Noir still after getting nibbed. So that was the only reason to play 2. Thankfully, that never came up for me, but that was a consideration I had because of the fact that everyone was gonna be main decking Nib. And if you watch like, I think like even like the Runic Fur Hire deck profiles, they all main deck Nib. So 2 Noir, 1 Happiness is double Noir with 7 materials. If 1 yellow hits, so you play 2 for that reason. Yeah, 2 Zeus. I think honestly, like, it's crazy because like I know I made Zeus against the feature match against Dom, if you guys saw, but I actually don't make this card as much as people think. I think like the XYZ, the Pearly XYZs are actually the really broken part of the deck. I think Zeus only comes up in game states that I can't win, and I need Zeus to resolve to like win. But I think this card was like obviously really good. But I feel like the better you get with this deck, the more you rely less on Zeus to break your opponent's board. To be honest with you, for the rank 1s, you have Slacker. Obviously, one of my cast opponents forgot to use Unicorn, and I punished him, made Slacker, and just Zeused him. Princess Bright. I played 9 monsters, 31 spells and traps, so you're like hitting this like literally almost every time, but I'm pretty unlucky I hit Ash Blossom. And then 1 Downer Magician to make a really big Zeus. So that's pretty much it for the extra deck. For the side deck, I played Storm and Feather Duster. I almost didn't play this card because I think everyone's siding Anti-Spell and Eradicator, so I think these are just not being sided in against Kashtira in my opinion. I had this mainly just for Labyrinth. I'm just really afraid of Skill Drain. I think the card's just too busted. And more stuff for Labyrinth. This card's also really good against the Runic Fur Hire deck. If they don't open Sprite cards and they open only Runics and Fur Hire cards, you bell the Donor and like the game's just over. You can also like bell their Rex to reborn on your turn if you top deck it, so they don't get to trigger. Don't put a pop a card. Bell was just like ridiculous. Yugioh for the Runic decks, Dragon decks, all that good stuff. So pretty good. Nibru, honestly, this card was terrible for me. I almost never sided in against Dragon Link. I don't side this card in. I thought I was supposed to, but I realized like it doesn't actually do anything. You play into Thrust, which lets them like God knows what happened. They rip cards out of your hand, all that good stuff as well. And like they just trigger Regain to bring back their Dissipator when you nib them. It's just like pretty bad. I found out that I'd rather just Dark Rule them and break their board that way. So yeah, this card was not really that good for me. I wish I played Kurikara, which is what I ended up playing in the playoffs. I played Kurikara over Nibru, and this card is way better because when you get debarriered, having Kurikara access to a level 1 is like really strong because you can bring back your opponent's Rise Heart and then just like you don't really care about Shifter, you can actually just use their Rise Heart. I thought that was like really neat. And yeah, it's just like really strong. It forces like Zeus through because it's level 1 randomly. And yeah, I just played through Barrier better, I think. It's overall a better card. I almost wish I played Fenrir and Kurikara together in a side deck because of that. Because it just played through like Barrier a lot better. But honestly, the reason why I think this deck was a really good meta call because no one played Barrier in their side deck, and the people who did went to Worlds. So shout out to Enzo for having Barrier in his side deck, because I think if he didn't have Barrier in his side deck, he would have, I think, would have lost to Kamal. And Kamal handles like the nuts. So yeah, Kurikara is really strong. And then I just decided Organism because I expect to go first against Kashtira. They're gonna make me start. And this card is really good against Cash because they have to really commit a lot of cards to out this. And then the second reason is because against Brandon, I think it's a really bad matchup for the deck. And having this card make it so that if they Gimmick Puppet you, you Gimmick Puppet them back with Organism. So that's pretty much that. And that's it. That's it for the profile. So nothing else. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Definitely be look out for this deck at post Dune. And I'll see you guys at the next event. Peace.